Hello, it's Jeta, and today I'm filming the last part of the How I Revised for A-Level series. Today I'm going to be talking about history. I thought I would do a little academia look for history, probably to overcompensate for the fact that I struggled with history. But in the end I got what I needed. I scraped into an A. But because of the fact that I did really just scrape that A, and I know that some people are going to be aiming for higher, I did ask my best friend Sophia, who's going off to Oxford to study her history degree, to send me some of her tips and advice as well to weave into this video because she did get an A star. So I first wanted to talk about how to summarize the content for history, because there is a lot of content, and if you don't summarize it and be selective about the facts that you're going to learn, you're not going to be able to revise everything. It's just impossible. There's so much knowledge that they teach you for history, and you honestly don't need to know most of it. In terms of like when you're writing your essays, you get to choose what facts you include, so you don't need to know every little crevice of information that they tell you. So in terms of actually summarizing the content, I would say use the specification. I've got it for some of the ones here, but yeah, the specifications are not like super detailed. They're not like some of the science specs, which are like really tell you exactly what you need to know, but this does tell you the bigger topics or themes of content in terms of Russia that I did, which you do need to make sure that you have facts for. So do follow this as a guideline in terms of how to summarize what you really need. But for history, the spec isn't gonna tell you what you need to revise, but do use it as a guideline because that definitely helped for me. But on top of the spec, use your class notes, use textbooks. I used multiple textbooks. I had the textbook that we got given, but I also used a couple of online ones as well, and try and sort of find the best possible facts and way of phrasing for you from loads of different sources, and that's kind of what I did. But yes, I just wanted to hammer down in this section that there is no set list of facts for history. It's just what you decide you want to learn. And I would say in terms of deciding what you want to learn, try to pick facts that you know are easier to memorize. Off the top of my head, I'm just thinking of Russia. When you're talking, let's say, about like the economic advancements, instead of saying like this specific amount of tons of coal that increased from certain dates, just say that the amount of coal increased sixfold. Things like that, just simplify them so that you can memorize them easier. Now on to what my format for revision resources actually was, and also how I memorized these all. So both me and Sophia revised in a very similar way. We both made sort of our own textbooks in a way. These were little booklets which had all of the facts that we wanted, and Sophia's were in more notes format, mine were more in table format, so I'll just show you what I mean. So this was my booklet for Russia, which is in themes, and I had all the rulers at the top and then the sub themes along the side. So this was for economy, so industry, agriculture, and then this was for society, so I had famine, proletariat working conditions, proletariat living conditions. So yeah, I did mine in tables because I quite liked that I could compare rulers and facts directly across the tables. Or for the Wars of the Roses, which was another topic, these are also kind of in tables. So I made 1 page per ruler. So Henry VI, I had his 3 parts of his reign, and these are more just in note format, I would say. And I just titled them by questions along the top. So yeah, I made my notes in tables, I think because I realized I was more of a visual learner than I thought I was. When I was doing the essays, I actually realized that I was imagining the tables and thinking, ooh, on like this 3rd column on the 4th row, there was that fact about this. And I think that really helped with memorization, so that's why I did them in tables. But I think Sophia just made them more as notes, but that also works really well. However, something that Sophia did which I didn't do in my booklets is that Sophia actually linked her facts to arguments, points, or analysis that she was going to make in the exam, essentially. I decided I'd just do this in the exam. In terms of when they give you the question, I just linked the facts that I made to the question in the exam. But Sophia actually already linked her facts to analysis points. So let's say when talking about Henry VII policies towards the nobility, let's say they were quite strict, she would then write down like, this shows that he was a ruthless ruler and things like that. So she already had argument attached to these facts, which I think is a really good thing to do because it does definitely save time in the exam. I decided not to do this. I don't know if it even went through my mind to do this, but I'm a very think in the exam type of person, which is probably why I don't write a lot in exams. But that's just the way that I like to do things. But then again, I did get an A and she got an A star. So this is probably a good thing to do if you do have time. But then something that we both did, and it's actually hilarious thinking back, because we would actually FaceTime each other and then just mute ourselves, and we would both be doing the exact same thing, but just with each other as company. So we would take our booklets of notes, as I said, and we would oh, this is upside down. We would take our booklets of notes, as I said, and we would literally just blurt out the information on a whiteboard and talk out loud, and as if we were explaining the content to someone, we were just talking to ourselves. But it helps so much. I think because history, there are so many facts, sometimes like writing it all out takes too long. So like a little whiteboard with just like the key numbers and key facts and just saying it out loud was a lot more efficient, and I like, it honestly went into my head. But I think we both remembered things by talking a lot. I said in my psychology video as well, I revised a lot by just explaining things to people. So this was kind of a similar thing where I would just explain the content to myself, but using a whiteboard was also quite helpful. Another thing I did was make a lot of timelines. This is the one that I made for the key battles in the Wars of the Roses, but I made a few for a couple of the other like key events in some of the other topics as well. And this really helped because I think when you have a good understanding of chronology in history, you tend to memorize facts a bit easier too, because they're not just coming out of the sky, if that makes sense. Like, you can actually place it in terms of when each thing happened. Another thing that can be useful to make is almost character profiles for the different people in your course, especially for the sort of medieval parts of the course. So we did the Wars of the Roses, as I said. Everyone has the same name and everyone has like very similar titles, and then when the father dies, the son will take the same title, but they also had the exact same name and surname, so there's literally no way to tell between them. So things like dating when they were alive and who they are and how the families interlink can be very helpful, especially like in year 12 when you're still getting to grips with the content and the people. And then something that Sophia also said she did was ranked the leaders in terms of the different topics. So for Russia, this was a big part of our course, but like which leader made the most change or had the most impact on the lives of the peasants, on the lives of the proletariat, and that's very specific to Russia, but I think most courses will have similar questions in terms of that, or just ranking in which time period the most change happened. So for South Africa and apartheid, which was another part of another topic we did, that was also like one of the key questions, was like the extent of change that happened over the period. So yeah, ranking things like that and almost pre-planning questions that could come up in that way can be useful, and that's something Sophia did a lot of. I did this too a little bit, but as I said, I like to do this more just in the exam when the questions come up. I really wanted to wear this for the aesthetics, but it's actually really hot for a blazer today. Okay, so moving on to the final part of this video, which is practicing and putting all of the stuff that you've memorized into practice. So a big thing that you want to do is obviously just essays, because that is what the exams are. History is a very heavily essay-based subject. That's all you're going to do, and so practicing essays is obviously going to be very helpful. Sophia said that she wrote a lot of introductions and like half essays and timed conditions leading up to the A-level exams, like in the last few weeks. I didn't actually write any full essays leading up to my exams just because I was very much running out of time. But what I did do was lots of essay plans, and I did group my facts together. While I didn't sort of implement argument as much into my revision as Sophia maybe did, I did still think about the bigger picture and did group my facts together in terms of how paragraphs could look like. So I made these essay plans like this. So economy, I sort of split it into 2 paragraphs and grouped all of my facts together. And I did a lot of essay plans for history. So yes, to sort of save time, I made essay plans rather than actually writing out the essays. But if you are struggling with time management and also just your essay writing technique, then I think writing out actual essays can be very helpful, or just writing out introductions and half essays like Sophia did could be a good way to revise too. She also said past papers are your best friends, so use them, and I do agree. I think past papers can be useful in terms of figuring out the types of questions that are most likely to come up and what they've asked before. However, in saying that, don't get too comfortable with the wording of questions, because in my year no one expected the types of questions that came up in some of those exams, and it was very off-putting, and it definitely knocked people's confidence when they expected one thing and then got put with another. So whilst yes, look at past papers to see patterns of how they tend to structure everything, also be prepared for surprises. The other thing is practicing your historian skills. So practicing analysing primary sources and analysing historians' interpretations. So get a primary source, analyse it and select good quotes, and dedicate a portion of that analysing time to provenance, which you need to talk about in your essays as well. Like, who wrote it, when was it written, what was the purpose of writing this, who was the intended audience, and all these things. So yes, that is how I revised history A-level. That's all the tips and advice that I have to give. I think, as I said in my other how I revise videos, take what I've said as inspiration and ideas for how you might want to revise, but also see what works best for you and what kind of learner and you are, and how you memorize best, and all of those things, and what your strengths and weaknesses are. I think for history, a big thing was using my teachers. I just asked loads of questions when I was stuck and got them to double check things and give me specific advice on my essays. So use your teachers as well, and yeah, good luck if you are doing history A-level. Now that this series is over, I am so excited for the content that is coming up. All of the uni stuff will be up next, so I think the next video should be a uni preparation vlog. So yeah, I am really excited to share all of that content, and yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye. Mwah.